Tumena Baswako, hi, and welcome to Mommy Diaries. We are back like we never left. We talk about all things motherhood, parenting. We talk about our kids, and we talk about this amazing journey of motherhood. Promise Makunyane. Nekere ke tlo nahana go ke introduce jwang like, but I'll start kadi one by one. Ke tla start ka the favorite one. She's a wife.
Yes.
She's a wife.
Lest you forget.
God, she's a wife. Kibo always say about my husband this, my husband that, and she's unapologetic about it. She's a mother. She's a businesswoman. She also has her own podcast called On Narrative. Promise, how are you?
Hi, Mama. I'm good.
Are you good? You look lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming to Mommy Diaries.
Thank you for finally calling me back. It's been 3 months or so coming.
I know, but you know, everything happens for a reason.
Right.
Now let's talk about Promise. Before we knew Promise from our social media, and I think one of the reasons why you be obviously I saw your content on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I just like how vocal you are about your family, about your husband, about your business, and you always also share a lot about your personal journey as Mutunje.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Promise. Where is Promise from?
Yeah.
And how did you end up where you are today?
Hi. So, but see, I'm from Tafokop in Limpopo. Grew up there. I'm coming from a family of 7 children. I'm the middle child. And that's where I did my schooling. Then I went to University of South Africa. I studied public relations management. I graduated there. From there, I started working, and then I came to Joburg. I was staying in Pretoria when I was studying, and I came to Joburg. That's when I started working, and that's just how my journey unfolded.
So, where did you meet your husband? Can
I tell you? Answer those inboxes. Facebook,
DM.
Not even DM, Facebook.
Inbox.
Okay.
With DM, yes.
So, my husband, Promise Makunyane.
Yes.
I met him on Facebook. We're coming from the same village, but surprisingly, I've never seen him. And I come from like a well-known family. We know everyone knows us.
Yes.
So I did not, when he said, hi, I'm from Tafokop, I'm like, no, you're not from Tafokop. I know
it's
pretty
like
much
a famous
Tafokop. Yes. Then he was like, okay, when I'm home, then we'll go on a date. And no, it was 2009, and I've been just stalling him, Modi
inboxing
until 2014, 15. That's when I was like, okay, when you're home, tell me. Then we went on our first date, and the rest is
history.
2 children later, 6 years in marriage later.
Wow, that's lovely.
Yeah.
And then when now we're talking about, obviously that's why we're here, talking about motherhood. Have you always wanted to be a mom, or it just happened because you thought, did you get married first and then you had kids? Or did you have kids first and then you got married after?
I actually, when I was watching your podcast yesterday, you've asked someone the very same question, that did you always want to be a mother? And I was like, I wish she asked me this question. Because no, it was not part of my plans. I got my children because I was married. Naturally, after marrying, the next thing societally is having kids.
Yes.
However, if I was not married now, I wouldn't have kids. I never wanted to have kids outside marriage.
Got you.
So it has never been. So when I met my husband, he had a child already. Yes. And there was this pressure because nanale baby issues and blah, blah, blah. And he had this pressure of like having a child. And that's how we broke up, because I was like, I don't want to have a child before I get married, you know. So no, I've not always wanted to be a mother. But then right after marriage, or when we were planning to get married, that's when now I was starting to plan to be a mom. So I'm not a mom. Like, I'm not a super mom.
Yeah. No, I'm not. You know what? I'm saying that I'm not a super mom. I am more of, because we parent differently.
Yeah.
And I see with my friends, let me make an example of my younger sister.
Yeah.
My younger sister, they are always there.
Yes.
I'm not always there.
Okay.
For example, if I'm here, I'm practical. Tell me how much it is. So that bana ba kgone ho have fun. And not that I'm not saying, I'm not Every weekend I must plan out no, I'm not. So I understand what you mean.
Yeah, I'm not a super mom, and it takes, I don't know why people like they feel they don't want to say that I'm not a super mom, but I'm a mom. I love my children.
Yeah.
But I always want to have support around me.
Yeah.
I can't live without my nanny. I can't live without my husband. As far as the kids are concerned, I need help. So yeah, I had my kids inside my marriage.
Yes.
3 weeks after, actually, our first child was conceived at our honeymoon. Yeah.
It was planned, it was this thing. And I guess with how we grew up, that's how it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if and I'm not judging anyone
No.
who had that, because some people don't want marriage, but they want kids.
Yeah.
But I think because of the societal expectations, as a woman, as a young black girl, you should get married first, and then have kids. I saw one of your posts, Orowena, nobody has seen you pregnant.
Nobody.
Let's talk about that. What do you mean? You've got 2 kids? Promise.
Yes,
That's what guys. What do you mean, however, nobody has seen you pregnant?
Yeah. I remember with my first child, people actually said I adopted the child. I was never pregnant, blah, blah, blah. Because
when you say people, are you saying family, relatives, or?
Yeah, the talks in my village. They just
you.
thought that maybe I was never pregnant and. So, okay, let me backtrack. You said something that like societally or in our families, you have to get married and have a child. I remember when I was getting married and 3 weeks later, that's when we conceived. And then maybe a month later, I told my parents that I was pregnant. Yeah. And what my dad said was like, I'm so relieved, because yes, after you get married, now they've got to that thing. Are you going to have children?
Are you able
to have children? Because a lot of us, we are having children before we get married. That's what's happening in our black society. But then now this one got married without having children, and my husband had already had children outside. It's like now the pressure, my dad felt like, you need to have children. God give this woman children. So anyway, that is that. And what was your other question?
My question was, I've never seen you. Nobody has seen you pregnant.
So let me take you to my wedding day. So on my wedding day, I had this dream. I've shared this story that it keeps trending every time I speak about it. So on my wedding day, Friday they bring the cows, and then Saturday and Sunday is the whole celebration. So when they brought the cows, a week leading to my marriage, I have dreams of. It's a whole lot of it's very educational. Anyway, let me say it. A week leading into my marriage, into our wedding celebration, which is October 2018, I have a dream where it's like I'm urinating outside a bush. When I'm urinating there, I wipe myself. Then when I wipe myself, when I look at the tissue, there's blood. And I'm like, blood, okay. Then when I look around, I see 2 of my relatives. I can't say them. 2 of my relatives coming like this. And then I'm holding the tissue like this. I hide it very quickly. Fine. Then a week later, I have another dream. It's like it's my wedding day. I'm in the bedroom. Like a dress.
Wait, tukisa for the wedding, yeah.
When I get tukisa mola, I see a pad full of blood on the bed. And when I see the blood, when I turn on the other side, I see those 2 relatives again.
Mawena.
Then now I'm hiding that thing. So fine, fast forward, my wedding comes Friday, they bring the cows. And then after bringing the cows, they slaughter the cows. So I did not know this part. So I told my sister about the dream. My sister was like, that seems like shame, It's like, it's shame that it has to do with your reproduction. That has to do, it's a sacred thing. Yes. Because when you're hiding, like, it's shame that has to do with Friday, the cows come, and then they slaughter 1 cow. I'm in the bedroom. I have to sleep. I'm with my sister, and my dad comes. We're talking. As we are in the bedroom, now it's the wakings on my Friday of my wedding. My other uncle comes and is like, hi. He tells my dad, who's going to come and get my perepere, my perepere.
My perepere king.
So, yeah, I'll tell you.
Okay.
So he's like, who's going to come and get my perepere? Because that cow has just been killed.
Yeah.
And my father's like, oh, okay. Tell the other uncle to get it, or tell someone to get it. So after that uncle left, we asked my dad, what is maperepere? My dad is like, oh no, maperepere is the reproduction of the cow. So it's like the womb going into, I don't know, the vagina of the cow, but it's the reproduction of the cow. So apparently on your wedding day, when they slaughter your cow, the family must take that, because people take that, yes, so that you don't have children in your marriage.
Oh my God.
So when that was happening, my dad explains to me and my sister in the bedroom, and it's like, that's what they did to your grandmother. So my grandmother's sister, apparently they would say she died when she was 70 and she never had kids. So like, that's what they did to her years back when she was getting married. Immediately that dream of mine clicks, and it clicks the same time with my sister's like,
so baba baby ba le ba ba boning in the dream and what
yes. So that's how now my sister went there, blah blah. When she got there, she saw one family, that very same family member saying, hey, and obviously he's my relative, they're going to give him because it's part of family. My sister was like, hey, no, please. Now they were fighting for my paper. I was crying in the bedroom because I'm like, no,
what a mess. It shouldn't be like that.
It shouldn't be like that. That my sister managed to get hold of it, and then she came in a bucket. It's this big meat, like,
I can imagine.
When we got there, we just cried. Yes.
Yeah.
And she got in the bedroom with it, and we just cried. So ever since that day, I have been asking myself, am I going to have children? So now that's why now when I finally conceived 3 weeks later, I hate my pregnancies. That's where
I get it. Now I get it. Yeah. Now I get it because already there's fear.
Yeah.
Already you're worried about because mudimu buele gona ka ditoro. And I mean because sometimes I wish I was white.
Yeah.
When we talk about these things. Because every time you hear horrific stories about what happens ko manyalong le ko di funeraleng gore hey bomme ba ba kae kae bana ba etsang le ka go etsang, and I get it.
And you think it's Nollywood. You think it's superstitions.
Yeah.
That day, I was like,
you saw it with your own eyes. But now talking about that, I always say or see, because we're not old, we're still young, and we come from a generation where our parents also treated pregnancy as sacred as possible. Ke hopola ntse re le banyane when my older sister was pregnant, una sa dumela go tsame ko strateng ka mpa fela, bana ba motlama ka like a towel so that batho ba holo ba ska gona bona how far she is.
Yeah.
So now things have changed, and we see young people are getting pregnant, obviously, and they're recording their pregnancies on social media, recording their content as they go to the gynecologist.
Papa the crop top.
Papa the crop top.
Yeah, now Papa crop top. I'm to restaurant nigga crop top. Yo.
What would you say to them, or do you think they will batla araba with my 2000 tajwa batla araba but no, it's your guys' belief, it's not my belief. Why do you think it was so important besides buloi for pregnancy to be so sacred?
I think it's life. Like it's just sacred. Like it's
something you treasure that you want to keep to yourself.
100%. Like you are making a person, a whole energy.
Yeah.
You need to treat it as such. That's just for me. But I don't have a problem with people that go out like that. But then I think we need to be cognizant of you are making a person. You have to be home. Just sit home and bake.
And bake,
and stop going around taking energies like you are taking a sperm and making it a person. And then I just have to go anywhere, eat everything, eat with everyone. No, I never had baby showers. But for me, I'm not saying people should do that. But now it was because of the trauma of what happened on my wedding day that I was like, this is actually beyond me. I'm going to hide myself. However, if people want to go there, out there, they should.
They should, yeah.
But just think about what you are doing. Like, just practically think
and protect yourself.
This was a sperm, now it's a what? And then you're just going around in jail. Guys, think again.
Everyone anything. I hear you.
Like
but how was your pregnancy? Was it a difficult pregnancy or it was easy?
So with my daughter, it was very easy. I would take pictures. People wouldn't see. I'll look there.
Yeah.
And I'll shoot at my back. People wouldn't see that I was pregnant. And after I gave birth, that's now when I do like this and that, like I showed you this and this was there. So my daughter's was very easy. It was very relaxed, and until the day of giving birth. And then for my son, it started easy 2 months. Into 3 months, it was starting to be difficult, and that's when I was like, housewife vibes. My husband was like, okay, and then I stayed home for 2 years to tend to my pregnancy, my son's pregnancy.
You touched on the kind of a mother you are. Let's talk more about that. What kind of a mom are you? If you have to be practical, are you strict? You said you spoke about nannies. It's a difficult conversation because as basadi we need those women to help us.
Yeah.
And le bone ke basadi ba e leng hore they left their homes to come take care of. Let's talk about that, your experiences with helpers or nannies.
Yeah. So my experience with nannies was horrible. Hey guys, I've got a truckload of stories studying nanny to the one that was HIV positive but never disclosed
it.
However, when I found out, I just saw ARVs, and then I told my friend Nosy, my associate. I shouldn't just call loosely people friends. Yes. Nosy Bele Mayaba, she's an HIV activist. I told her, well, this, and she was like, no, this person is not supposed to tell you that they're HIV positive. It's not legally
it's not legal.
It's not legal.
Yeah.
They don't have any gala for them to tell you that they're HIV positive. But I'm like, but my child was still small. Like, we
It's
needed
so
to
tricky,
make
right?
precautions in the house. We needed to buy hair gloves. And what I've realized is that they take medication. They go to the clinics during the week. And during the week, every day she was working. That's why her health started deteriorating in my house. What if she died in my house? Yeah, so she was not taking her medication. So my stories go from that horror to people just wanting to control you because you are young. My husband and I are young. They just want to mother you. They just want to tell you, no, you have to do the child like this. I'm like, no, we want to do the child like this. Oh, why not? We have to. We're like, no scissors, no razors. We're like, no. However, I think I found my feet now in the nanny situation. I think it's almost a year.
And it's going well.
Yeah. But what I've realized is that I had to sit down with myself and ask myself, what can I do? I looked at white people. White people stay with this nanny
forever.
For 25 years. Yes.
For years.
Yes, that's how it goes. So I had to ask myself, what are they doing? And it's not like they're treating them good more than us.
They don't. Yeah.
They eat there with the dogs at the back. Or now we sit with them, dine with them. Yes. But what I realized is that white people invest in our mothers. Like, people were taken by white people to school. Like, they are...
Yes.
University. Booty boss.
Yes.
Even though the mother was mistreated, but the boss invested
in their kids.
And that's what I adopted.
Okay.
Yes. So my nanny started working for us last year, July, I think, or June. She's going into a year now. And then she was good. She's been so good. And I remember February, it was Valentine's Day. She's from Zim. So Valentine's Day, we were out with my husband for dinner, and I was telling my husband that, I was speaking to Auntie, asking her how she is. Should I check in with her now and then?
Yeah.
Or how are you? Blah, blah, blah. And Auntie was like, she's okay. And she would... she just need a little more money, which is obviously she's due and she's a year, but then she was just being open that I was struggling more money because of the kids' school fees, blah blah blah. And I was telling my husband that this is the conversation I had with Auntie, and then she said 1, 2, 3, and my husband was like, okay, so what do you think, because I am liable for Auntie's expense in the house.
Yes.
She's like, what do you think? I was like, okay, I think I must give her maybe 500 more or 1,000 more. My husband's like, okay, maybe don't do it like that. Ask her what, because she was talking about school fees. Ask her how much she pays for her children's school fees. And see what you can do with that. Then I'll ask her. She was like, okay, I pay this much. And I told my husband was like, okay, it's a lot. However, they pay in 3 months, Kozim. Instead of you giving her 1,000 more, pay for her children's school fees. In 3 months. You can make this money in 3 months. Give her that in 3 months and continue giving her salary and say, your kids' school fees will be paid by me. I did that. She cannot, I'll get emotional. She's like, you know what? I've never seen such a thing. So now, since I started end of March, I paid for the school fees. Obviously, you have to send interest. But send about 20 rand per 100 rand.
Oh, because Hasimo South Africa. Yes.
So it's some guy who charge 20 rand per 100 rand. It's quite a lot. It's way more than the 1,000 that I was planning to give her.
But it's
a sacrifice that I need to do in 3 months. So in 3 months, now I'm paying for her children's school fees. Now she said, oh, I thought business. So she sees me like being busy in the house, doing my businesses. And she's like, you're motivating me to start a business, maybe establish a business in Zim for my parents. She was like, okay, I'm thinking of selling polish, blah, blah, blah. Maloba, I went there. I was like, okay, we'll buy you the first stock and then you'll send it home. So that is what white people are doing.
They do.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
And
that.
when you work, you're working for your child to pay for your child's school fees.
She's working for her children. Yeah.
So if you just take over that thing that she's working for, you'll be happy. And
That's so true. I always get so shocked when us as bosses, ele rona re treatang di helper hampe.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, motho o sala le ngwana hao. Motho is o sala ka mo ntlong ya hao. Ha o yo. Ka mo kamoreng ya hao. Depend. When there's a video going around ya helper in utsitseng penti ka mo eretic. I can say so I hear what you're saying, and I think also even with our businesses as like as entrepreneurs, because I was even thinking, I can be your assistant, but as my boss you can ask me, what are your dreams? I'm not going to be your assistant forever, but I'm sure if we communicate those things, what are your dreams? One day I want to do this and that. You know, when you invest in people like that, and sometimes the very same people that you help, but we can't live what if motho tla o jikela. At the end of the day, what you're doing for her and her children, Modimo o tlo bless her. And I think as mothers, maybe it's something that we need to consider.
I really, when you invited, I was like, I want to say it because I've told my friends, I was like, friends, I'm starting to do this. And Auntie has been the best because that load that she's here in South Africa for, it's been lifted off. It's not like it's taking everything from me. I can work and make that money for her because she's taking care of the biggest part of my life.
Your children.
My children.
Your household.
My household. Like I can, and the more I was doing, when I was going to buy the stock for her, I was like, you know what, I can live like this. I just want to make her a better person.
It also makes you feel good.
Yes.
And how we do it, you're not doing it for sure.
Nobody knows what I'm doing. I'm doing it for
her.
Yes. She's like, I've never. She'll put statuses there. She'll put me and my family. She's like, you know what, God must bless. Oh, before now it's
so that's why we're here.
So I've got an errands and concierge business, right? Within the business, I do party packs and I do. So I've launched this corporate branded bars. It's for events as well. For party, I put them also in the party packs, right? Last year September, that's when I launched the branded bars.
Okay.
So how I launched the branded bars, September 2023. I have a dream. In the dream,
I had a dream. I had a dream. Hey, last week I had a dream. Since last week I had a dream. But it's your reality.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I get to share.
Yeah.
So September, before when I was launching the branded bars, a week after I've just started making for one of my friends.
Yeah.
I have a dream, auntie, the very same auntie. In the dream, they're saying I must ask for auntie to pray for me.
Okay.
For financial breakthrough.
Okay.
So in the dream, I'm like, okay. They're saying, okay, go, auntie must pray for you. And then also I wake up, I go to work. When I go to work, I'm like, auntie, pray for me. She was like 3 months in. Then after that, when I was at work, I sent her a message. I'm like, auntie, do you pray for people? She's like, no, you mean like healing people? She's like, no.
Just pray for people, yeah.
She's like, no, I don't do that, but I just pray myself. So she was like, okay. So when I got home, I tell her, I'm like, no, the following day, because I was like, she's going to think I'm weird.
Yeah.
So the following day, that thing is pressing on me. I tell her, I was like, auntie, I had a dream that you had to pray for me, blah, blah, blah. I tell her during the day. It's like, okay, maybe I must pray for you. Then later on that night, I had forgotten as well. She knocks at my door. She comes and is like, okay, let's pray. I'm like, okay. She's like, okay, kneel down. And then she held my hands. She's like, what was I praying for in the dream? I was like, for financial breakthrough. And in the dream she was saying, if you are okay, I will be okay.
100%. That's how it is. Because if you're not okay, she's not going to have a job.
She's not going to, So that's where now, so she was like, okay, what was I praying for? I was like, financial breakthrough and then blah, blah, blah. And your words in the dream was like, if I'm okay, you are certain that you'll be okay. And then she prayed for me. From there, that business, and that's why it's going super well.
Yeah.
And that's where I think also the burden of her came on me. That girl,
You have to help
You
this woman.
have to help this woman. I'm getting emotional.
That's such a beautiful
Yes.
story. And especially because, like you're saying, for someone who's at your house raising your kids, we are so busy. You are here. It's a Saturday. We are here. We're working. You know what I mean? And I think more than anything, it says a lot about the type of person you are.
I try.
You know, you Modimo tlo bless a lot because I've never heard of what you, like you're saying, you know, and we sometimes take pride in, hey, nna ke mo patala 3,000. Hey, mo patala 2,000 in this economy. And ba tlamehile ba palame taxi or stay in your house, and then ka weekend ta tsamaye, tjhelete ha enough, tjhelete ha
That
enough.
children are that side. They're sacrificing all that for me.
For you.
know?
Yeah.
So I think that's where also the burden of auntie came on me, that this woman, whatever that she needs, I have to help her.
You have to help her. Now, talking about the balancing. Balancing of... There's no such a thing for me as balance. I'm not going to lie and make up stories.
No.
The past 2 weeks, I'm sure when we're talking in makeup, the past 2 weeks for me has been hell.
Yeah.
Because I'm always on set and I'm doing this crazy storyline where every morning from 7 to 7 I'm crying.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I get home... I don't want to, I'm drained.
Yeah.
I don't have the energy to entertain Nema and all of that. Do you have the balance? Or you just wing it as the day goes? It's like one day at the time type of thing.
You're right. I don't think there's anything called balance, because I know when I have got capacity for my business, I know that my children are lacking and my husband is lacking.
Yeah.
When I now devote myself to my husband, my children are lacking. When I now focus on my children, my husband is like, yes. So there's no balance, but I just make sure that really, let me just make time for the kids this weekend. Let me just make time for my husband. There's no balance at all. And the business is always calling. However, sometimes you switch off and I focus on my children. And I'm just so thankful for the support, man. Like now, my nanny's weekend off. My husband is not around. And then my kids now are with the daycare teacher. So I had to drop them there. Yeah. Just like you have a community. Yes.
And we need that community.
We do.
Because that's what we need. It does take a village.
Yes. So both of them were going to the same daycare. And then now this one is going to RR. Now she went to big school. And then now the little brother is still at the daycare. Yeah. But now the teacher takes care of both of them like now. Like now my RR girl is on school holidays, but then she has been going to daycare with him. Yeah. So now today I was like, hey, tomorrow, blah, blah. She was like, no, bring them.
Yeah.
So I also have
that. Now, you talk a lot. How did this whole thing, my husband that start? Like, where did it begin? I'm catching on only later on. Where did it begin? And secondly, with that being said, the importance of being a happy wife is also contributes to being a happy mom. Yeah. Because if you're not happy in your marriage, or if maybe you're struggling in whatever way, obviously there's no perfect marriage. Yeah. But if you are struggling in a way, it will affect
the kids.
Yes. So this whole thing, my husband, it kadile.
So I joined TikTok, I think 2022 November. I was in Dubai with my husband and I made this video asking people where they get Rolexes, because we went to Rolex and asked them. And they were like, I remember. Out of stock for 4 years. And I was like, hey, that guy. So that, and I had like 1,000 followers on TikTok, and then that
by a repost
it went
viral. I remember.
So that's how I started taking TikTok serious. And from there, people knew me as a married woman. And then I stay with my husband 365 days. So there's no way that I'm not going to talk about my husband. Yes. So people were like, oh, this girl likes talking about her husband. Everything my husband, my husband that. Yes. I was like, oh, okay. Let me make money out of that. So that's how now I took it. I made a video. It's like, why do you guys say and I titled it "My Husband This, My Husband That." Yeah. And then it started like that. Yeah. Just how I always talk about my husband, but I stay with him. Yeah, because there's no way you can't talk about him. There's no way that I can talk about my husband, and
So now with this follow-up question, being happy. Being a happy wife. It almost feels like you are more realistic than other women, a lot of women. Because most of the questions you would ask, are you my husband's side chick?
Yes. Like, I'll tell you that my husband once cheated on me and I forgave him. You know, I speak about all those things. 90% of women, they go through those things, but it's a shame.
It is a shame. No woman will sit and say, my husband cheated on me, and then I found out and then I forgave him.
It will be like, oh, when we're still boyfriend and girlfriend,
but
now you're a lying girl.
Yes,
you know? And they will attack me, and I know that if you are attacking me, you are a wife, you know that I'm triggering you for something that you did not accept, that it happened to you, and you are still there. So I think it doesn't even start from me being a wife. What I've realized when I was journeying into my marriage and being a wife, I was like, it starts with me. Me being promised, being content with yourself. Then I'm going to now be content with being a wife. From that, it's going to drizzle into the children, right? But you are right. If you are not a happy wife, you are not going to be a happy mom. You can't show up
for your kids,
But I think people miss the fact that you can't be a happy wife if you are not a happy individual. So I always, now my message is self-awareness, like just be with self, understand yourself, and then see yourself inside your marriage, and then see yourself as a mother, you know, because a single mother cannot be a best mom if they're not the best version of themselves. 100%. So I really just invest in self, and I've started working very hard and realizing the dreams that I had when I was like 5, like podcasting. This is something that I've always wanted to do. Something, cameras, media, I just did not know what. But all those things, I'm realizing them in my marriage, and they're making me a happy person because I'm stepping into purpose. I'm doing what Promise Makunyane, which is my maiden surname, was born to do. So now the dream of Promise Makunyane is being realized as Promise Makunyane.
100%.
So that's just how it goes.
And for someone who's watching, lastly, who is a mom, I get it, they're different. One would be or some is the same journey as you, or some they just like teenage pregnancy. What advice would you give them, like you say now, starting with self and loving yourself and making those your name is Promise. You know, sometimes we always want people to keep their promises, but we never keep our promises to ourselves. So what advice would you give to someone all pregnant? They don't know what to do. They've decided they're keeping their baby, but there's no light at the end of the tunnel according to what they see. What advice would you give to them?
You need to know what to do. If you're keeping the baby. You really need to know what to do. And that's why I tell people, like kids, like girls that don't have kids yet. I'm like, for me, kids were about marriage. They were never going to come outside marriage. My husband will tell you, my sister was still telling me that, you know, if you're not married, you'll be a 31-year-old without even thinking about a child. Because I made a vow for myself that I'll never have a child outside marriage. So if you are not married or you are married and then you still question the pregnancy, you need to snap out of it and know that you're bringing someone into the world. Own the circumstance that you are in, especially when you're pregnant. It's painful, yes, but know that you need to put your big girl panties on, you know. And people, I always say that just know if you are saying that I don't want to get married, I want to have a child, own up to that.
Because it comes with different responsibilities
100%. Inside marriage, it's not like I might not be divorced tomorrow and be a single parent.
It can happen.
However, I'll still be content 100%. Because my plan for these children was to have them in marriage. I had them in marriage. And then going forward, I'll just raise them. It's not a choice. But then the choice I had, I chose it.
And how's your relationship with your husband's kids?
Teka. So I met my husband when he had one child, which is a daughter. And that one I've helped raise him before we broke up. So we broke up in between. That one is the one that I would speak about. But however, now the mom is married. So it's like she's in with another family. And then now my husband, I really don't want to speak much about that.
I get it.
But then, teka, and I'm okay with it. For as long as my husband's doing what he's supposed to do, I think I must step back. I think I've been inside this thing that depressed me. It depressed me, guys.
And what would you say to a woman who's married to a man who's got kids out there, but they're not taking care of the kids? I guess I understand, because sometimes some women take pride in, hey, I focus more. That's not right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for me, when I met my husband, he had a child, and then when we broke up, he had another child. Like I said, as an instinct of a woman, you support that person and you tell them. I was the one. He would send me the money I would send because men forget. Even my own children, did you pay for school fees? Pay for school fees. So I was that person until, sometimes if something is not appreciated, and I'm not saying people must appreciate because they don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So for me, it's like, did you do 1, 2, 3? Yes. Okay, cool. Yeah. But also, children's mothers, baby mamas needs to understand that you made a child with this person. I cannot
undo it, or
no. I cannot. I can't remind him to be a father.
No,
you
understand?
High. And there is no wife out there who can say, "Hi, and the men don't do that." No. It lies entirely on that. Even if I would say, "Oh, don't take care of your children," you say, "What are you saying? Are you mad?" So, but for step parents, we are the voice. Just like you remind in my family, I remind my husband, did you pay for school fees? So you must just remind, did you do this? Did you do that? That's what I do now. But hakisali muthola lo
So any last words to our viewers, and also you touched on your business, you touched on your podcast. Is there anything else that you want our moms to know there? Is there any product coming that's brewing? 2 seconds.
Anyway, guys, so I do have a podcast. It's own narrative podcast here on TikTok, here on YouTube, and it's about marriage and family dynamics. I run an errands and concierge business. It has children's party packs and branded chocolate bars for corporates, for events, for big businesses, small businesses. I also have a skincare line that is coming through. However, now I've got a product that helps with arthritis, that helps with mummies with C-sections. You know that we cannot stand and sit for a long time. Then there is also tea that goes with that body rub. It's a body rub. Gout, it helps with gout. A whole lot of things. Stretch marks, it helps with wounds, burns. So we do have that now available. It's a combo that goes with the rub and the tea that you can get. Like we suffer C-section mummies.
C-section.
Are you a C-section mummy? Yeah. You know, you will sit, it will be painful.
It's painful.
It's painful.
It's painful.
So that body rub will really help you, and the tea will really help you as well.
Okay. Thank you so much, Promise. I got 2
My
hours. husband this, my husband that. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
That was a nice one.